One of the things that comes up in backend audits is that the backend is only part of the picture. And sometimes the heaviest thing a founder is carrying goes beyond her backend systems. Sandy Boone is a therapist and a coach who works at the intersection of trauma healing and burnout recovery. And she does it in a way that goes a lot deeper than traditional talk therapy. She works at the nervous system level using somatic healing and neurofeedback to address what the body is holding that the mind alone can't fully process. Today, we're going to dig into what that means, why it matters for founders and high performers, and what neurofeedback is and how it works, because I think this is one of those conversations that's going to land differently than you expect it to. Welcome back to She's Built Like a CEO. I'm Brooke. If you're building a business to fund the life you actually want, this is the show for you. This is where we're going to talk about what matters, what doesn't, and how to build accordingly so you can have the life you want and the business you dream of. Let's get into it. Hey, Sandy, thank you so much for being here. Very excited to have you.
Hey, Brooke. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. So I'm going to dive right into the meat potatoes because we love meat and potatoes, or some of us do.
Yes.
We like the deets. We like the
Yes.
deets.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So for someone who's never heard of neurofeedback before, can you explain what that is without losing us in the first 30 seconds? Because, our
Yes.
brains, right?
Right. I get the brain thing, right? So I think of when I describe neurofeedback, I think of it as like Pavlov's dog. Like that's because everybody kind of knows that, right?
Yeah.
So I think about like you go to a doctor and you have an EKG of your heart. That's the electrical pulse of your heart. Neurofeedback uses the electrical pulse of your brain. And so what neurofeedback is doing is it's actually looking at the different brain waves that you have going all the time. We always have brain waves going. If not, that's bad news. That means
We got to look into that. That's a doctor
so we,
problem.
we want brain waves. And so because the alternative is not good.
Yeah.
And so with that, we're looking at the different brain waves, what they're doing, and are they moving too fast? Are they moving too slow? Are they fighting each other? So we have like a gas and a brake thing going on. And the device that we use to do the actual neurofeedback is helping us train our brain waves so that they're staying within the normal levels. So, like, for example, we know that sleep waves, these waves have to go between this hurts and this hurts. And
Mm,
so, if we're having trouble falling asleep, they're probably not between that hurt and that hurts and that hurts.
that is interesting. So, spoiler alert, I've been doing some neurofeedback. And so I have some insight into some of these questions when we get there, just from my point of view, obviously my perspective. But I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit about like what's actually happening to our brains during that neurofeedback session. So first, on a neurofeedback session, I should have brought my little
I
headband,
was
but
going
you
to say,
put
I
this
have
cute
my
little
close by.
headband on. Well, not
Okay.
everybody's watching anyway, so it's not the
Oh,
end of
that's right. That's right.
the world.
You're watching here.
There
Here.
it is. There's a little headband. You put it on your face and you look
This.
super cool, kind of like a Star Trek character. And you put that on, there's like a little thing you stick to the top of your head too, a little node. I don't know what you call that, medical terms.
It's an electrode, but I feel very
Electrode? I
not
like
right
it.
now.
Yes. So you put that little baby on and then you do all of this. Like I do all this on my phone
Mhm.
and it gives you some information. And I'll be honest, a lot of it goes whoosh right over my head, but that's okay because I have Sandy to help me with it. So that's okay. But I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit about like what happens to our brain during a neurofeedback session. Like
Yes.
what are we measuring and how are we training it?
Yeah. So the way that looks is kind of going back to like Pavlov's dog, right? Like the bell had really nothing to do with the food, but he would ring the bell, the dog would salivate because he knew the food was coming.
Mm,
The neurofeedback device that I use, it's a system from MindLift is the manufacturer, and they use a device called the Muse device.
mm,
And what's happening with that is when your brain is between those two areas that I said I wanted it to be, you're going to get some sort of feedback, and that's going to depend on what you're using in the app. So in this app, it could be that maybe you choose to stream Netflix. You're going to get full color and you're going to get full sound when your brain is where it's supposed to be. When your brain is not where it's supposed to be, that video is going to lessen the brightness and it's going to lessen the sound. Your brain likes the full sound and the full video
Mm,
brightness. So your brain learns that if I stay where I'm supposed to stay, I'm going to get the feedback that is positive.
yeah. So when I'm doing it, I usually choose either a music one or a fire. So like the music is either
You've
really
got games.
clear. What's that?
You've got the games, which is also
Yes, I play the games.
a
If
game.
I stream something on Netflix, I would just get so frustrated. That's just the way my brain works. So like I need something in front of me that and it's interesting. Anyway, so there's this one where there's fire and there's a log. And when your brain's doing what it's supposed to do, the fire gets bigger and brighter, and the little owl stays warm, and you want to keep him warm and all the things. And then when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it gets really small and cold, and your poor little owl's cold. And that makes me sad. Uh, but
Your brain goes, "Keep him warm."
yeah, but what I find so interesting about it is, like, what I'm thinking in my head, my thought process literally has nothing to do with controlling that fire, right? I can't be like, "I want the fire back, bring the fire back." No, something has to happen inside my brain for that to actually so I know that it's working on a level that I can't just work on a mindset for. I can't just want something more. It is something deeper, and I think that is really, really cool.
And arguably, the harder you try, probably the colder your owl stays.
Yeah, you just gotta chill out, man. You just gotta, just let it happen. Your brain knows what it's doing, which
'Cause
is
we're really good
crazy.
at letting it happen as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's what we're best at. But, I I know that some people listening have probably heard of, like, somatic work or EMDR and things like that, other nervous system modalities, but I'm wondering, like, how is neurofeedback different from that?
Yeah, so neurofeedback is more guided, right? Like, yes, there is a bit of guidance with EMDR, somatic experiencing, or even brain spotting, which I also do. Um, there's there's guidance in that, but it's not direction. So I think neurofeedback being more like actual coaching versus therapy.
Yeah.
Right, where, like, a therapist is gonna say, "Well, I'm curious about that. Let me know about that thing," and let you come to your own conclusions. A coach is gonna say, "Do this thing," right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
so, like, neurofeedback is like that. It's do this thing, not
mhm.
come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, you're getting very specific scientific information from the waves of your brain. You, as a professional, are taking it in, saying, hey, these are the things that your brain is needing some help learning how to do, process, or
Yeah.
whatever. And it has nothing to do so much like with our emotion. It's emotion out of it. It is completely training your brain with science involved. And I think
And
that's
physiological, not processing.
yeah, yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I think it's a neat aspect and something that gives you more of a full picture, in my
Mhm,
opinion,
mhm,
than if you're having therapy with someone that's excellent for a part of your brain. You're
yeah.
having, maybe you take medication for your ADHD or whatever, that's a whole other thing, and this is I mean, it's just a whole set of things that can help you to and it's a different way to do it.
Yeah, and the fact, like, it's interesting because in my work, sometimes panic because, again, I'm a therapist too.
Mm.
Sometimes we think the biggest issue is depression, right?
Oh,
But then when I look at the brain map, it's like, "Oh, no, it's anxiety." That's the anxiety is a lot worse. And then
yeah.
we'll find, like, actually, when the anxiety gets a little better, then maybe that negative self-talk gets a little better, and look, you're not as depressed, you know?
Yeah, so that leads me to the next thing I was curious about, like, who's a good fit for this? Like, what kind of things are going on with you where you'd be like, "You should try neurofeedback?"
Sky's the limit, really. You can do neurofeedback for trauma, you can do neurofeedback for anxiety, depression, ADHD, traumatic brain injury, Alzheimer's, cognitive decline, performance, um,
Mm,
stress management. There is some research out there that you can do it for physical symptoms like in the functional medicine world, like MCAS or Lyme disease, or like
wow.
there's a ton of things that you can do it for.
That is really cool. So specifically for people who are entrepreneurs, who are feeling some burnout, who are feeling a lot of stress, who are, maybe probably because this you attract what you are, neurodivergent and have you know, um, some ways that we think that are sometimes keeping us from focusing. So all of that would be something that'd be really good for neurofeedback. Like that's something
Yeah.
that has been proven through
Mhm.
studies that it's helpful for.
Yeah, I mean, it's been useful in Parkinson's. It's been like there are so
Oh.
many things that, you know, I personally don't think we can separate the brain and the body. Like we like to put them in their boxes, but
Mm.
it doesn't really work. Um, and so it can help. Like it's not like if you have knee pain, for example, and you need a knee replacement, I'm not going to create more cartilage. Right? Like,
Right.
neurofeedback's not gonna do that,
Mhm.
but neurofeedback could change the way your brain perceives pain.
Uh,
So, you
Interesting.
still need the knee replacement, but the pain level I mean, like, maybe you're waiting until you start a new deductible or whatever,
Mhm.
we could change the pain level.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
It's really cool.
That is amazing. The brain is an amazing thing, and we just I think we barely tapped the surface there, huh? There's so much we don't know.
There's so much, and the research is moving so quickly.
So, when you're doing a neurofeedback session, and I can, attest to some things here, but what are typically some of the things that you're going to experience? Like, what does it feel like on the inside?
So, for me, it feels like, I know that thing has to happen to get that positive feedback that I
Mhm.
want, but I can't force it.
Yeah.
And for me, I can tell when my brain is there. Like there's a
Yeah.
sensation that I can tell when I'm there.
Yep.
It's almost like woo-woo magic. Like,
Yes.
and that's a real scientific term.
I know, it feels that way though, because it does feel magical. I know when I'm doing it too, yeah, like you said, I know that you can kinda see it'll tell you when your brain's kind of, like, all centered, but I try to pay attention to that too so that I understand what that feels like,
Yeah.
and maybe that's helping, maybe it's not, but it's just the way that my brain works, but I can there's literally a different sensation when it's all put in a spot. I also find myself so tired when I'm done. Like,
Uh,
I'm exhausted, and
uh,
it's only 18 minutes a day.
right.
Like, I need a full-on full night's sleep now.
Uh-huh. Yep. Because we're slowing your brain down, right? And so
Yeah.
and not to go into what your treatment is per se, but, like, we're
Yeah.
we're targeting slowing down some waves for you. That's what we're
Right.
doing. And so slowing down those waves, you actually get to say, "Oh, yeah, now when things are slow and I'm not going a million miles a minute, I am actually really tired."
Yeah.
Because it's hard to sustain and, I mean, the brain working too, right? Like,
Right.
brain uses the majority of our caloric intake.
Mm.
Compared to the size, like, for it to be as small as it is, it uses a disproportionate amount of calories.
A little jerk.
Yeah, kind of a hog. Um, but, like, that piece of your brain is working when you're doing
Yeah.
neurofeedback, and although you're talking about fun with the owl, like, keep the little owl warm, it's doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that does bring up, like, yes, you're talking about fatigue. Sometimes if we're doing too much too fast, we can end up with headaches or,
Mm.
and so that's part of what I'm offering with neurofeedback is if something weird is happening, let me know so we can tweak things a little bit. Maybe we don't need to keep you in such tight parameters. Maybe we need to loosen it up a little bit so that
Right.
we can go a little slower.
That is definitely the benefit of having you alongside because this is something I mean, you can go do this and buy the app and all that by yourself, but without Sandy's guidance, I mean, you have someone who knows what to target, who knows
Mhm.
how to help you, manage that to a point where it's actually going to help you, and you can get the results so much faster and the results that you want versus, willy-nilly out there just trying to figure this out on your own, and I love that. So, that kinda takes me to the next thing I was curious about like, how long does it take for us to see some results in this, and what do those usually look like?
So it depends. And that's
Mhm,
not the popular answer, right? So typically I tell clients expect 30 to 60 sessions before, and again, we're talking 20-minute, 18 minutes for you, 20 minutes,
mhm.
say 20 minutes usually. Um, 20-minute sessions, we're looking, I don't even look to, that's not true. I'm looking to see what's going on. I don't check to see what results we have until 20 sessions in. because, today I may perform better if I'm running a mile. I may perform better today than I do tomorrow or the other way around. And so I usually like to have 20 sessions with someone before I do an assessment to see if anything has changed.
Gotcha.
And sometimes we'll see, oh, actually, now that this is better, oh, look, there's this. Like we need to work on this.
Mhm.
Um, and it's interesting because, like, typically the younger the brain, the quicker it'll change, but the younger the brain, the quicker it'll change. And so you
Oh,
have to do neurofeedback longer sometimes in children because their brain will revert back faster.
gotcha. That's interesting. I know you told me you called me young the other day, "My brain will be fine, I'm young," and I was so happy to hear it. It's like, "Okay.
Well, I
Thanks
mean,
so
there's a
much."
difference between a 30-year-old brain and a 50-year-old brain, right? Like there's
Well,
difference there.
mine's almost 40. I'll be 40 in January, so it's in
There's
between young and old, I think.
between 40 and 50, there's a difference, right? Like for me, I've had 11 more years of dysfunction than you. So we're gonna take a little longer to undo that.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I'm grateful for it. I have enjoyed, it, and I'm not quite to my 20 sessions yet, so I'm very curious to see what happens after that, and that's motivation now for me to do it more often. But
Yeah.
I do remember when we first started, you said you can do it once a day, no more than once a day, but typically 2 to 3 times a week is fine as well.
Mhm.
I've been sticking more to that 2 to 3 times a week, and now all I wanna do is go do my neurofeedback so I can figure out what's next. It's like a puzzle. The brain's a puzzle.
I have clients that'll do it every day, right? Like,
Mhm.
wanna do it every day. Okay, do it every day. Like, if your brain gets tired, you're gonna know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
for
you're
sure.
gonna have a headache or you're gonna know when it's too much.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people listening right now are founders and they're high functioning people and they are probably quietly, maybe not so quietly, handling burnout behind the scenes. So what's happening in the nervous system of someone like that?
So, I think of burnout as being, "Hey, you needed to take a break and you didn't."
Pretty much. We didn't
Right?
listen.
Like, I didn't listen, but this thing, you know? Um, and so really burnout is about not having sufficient recovery at the end of the day. And so how much recovery do you need? Well, what does your nervous system need? That's very individualized, you know?
Right.
And so with the burnout piece, maybe you're not stopping because you're anxious and you can't. Maybe anxiety is feeding that just one more thing, or I've got to do this, or performance. I mean, it can look a million different ways, right? All of the above.
Yeah.
So the burnout for me, I think it's you didn't take the time you needed. And again, maybe you couldn't, maybe you had a deadline. Like that's not to shame someone, but if we have good recovery time and that can look different, you know, I don't like the whole self care thing in a lot of ways
Yeah.
because self-care isn't unicorns and Skittles and rainbows. Self-care is like, did I get enough rest?
Mm.
And, did like I have my computer, there's a window directly behind me. And so part of that is so that I can shift the muscles in my eyes and look a distance so that I don't have as much eye fatigue because it's nice to look at that magnolia tree over there rather
Yeah.
than the screen. It's like what is recovery and not just massages, that can be part of it
Mhm.
but, did I eat today? You know,
Yeah.
we're not complicated house plants, like, we actually have needs.
Yeah, well, and I think too sometimes when we hear the talk, self-care talk, there's a lot of shame wrapped up in that because, like, I don't have the time to paint my nails, or I don't have the time to go to, get a massage or whatever, um, and I've also heard the argument in reverse that, basic needs aren't self-care, but I am in the camp with you where it's like basic needs need to be met, and if those aren't being met, then when will there be time for you to do any of the self-care stuff either, you know? So or quote unquote self-care, I guess, whatever you wanna call it.
Right.
So I totally agree with you there. I think another thing that happens with us as business owners is we're very used to just managing, neurodivergent people, and business owners are
Mhm.
very used to just managing it all because we think it's just supposed to be hard. And so sometimes we carry that stuff in our body in a way that, we don't even know it's there.
Mhm.
And so that's something that I have kind of noticed since I've started neurofeedback, and I know I'm not as far into it as 20 yet, but I've noticed in my body that it's like I'm more aware now of like this is happening and I need to slow something down.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I know a little bit more about how that feels when my brain's all aligned and feeling better. And now by no means am I perfect at that yet. But I do think that's a huge benefit that I have so far seen and can't wait to have more of that.
Yeah. I think as a general rule, like we are as a society so disconnected from our bodies. And like
Yeah.
we totally go on a soapbox about this, and maybe this is a
Please.
conversation for another day. But like when I first started doing my somatic based training, it was like I told someone, I feel like I've had a neighbor for the last 45 years and I've never said hello to them. And
Oh,
I would have told you that I had a lot of body awareness. And I think comparatively I did.
mhm.
But like there's a difference between something's off versus I'm hungry. Like,
Mhm.
and I could pick up on I'm hungry, but I didn't necessarily pick up on I'm curious about why my left hip is hurting.
That is interesting. Yeah. So, okay. Oh my gosh, my brain's going in 45 different directions here. So, a couple of things. First, sometimes I feel too aware of my body, and sometimes I'll shut that stuff down as a mechanism to like because I'm always worried about like, oh, my left pinky hurts. Does that mean I'm having a heart attack? Like that's seriously that used to be my life. And so I've kind of suppressed some of that body awareness because I used to be very hyper aware and now
Mhm.
I'm just like I've turned it off so often that I sometimes I don't notice like that my foot is bleeding. So
Hello.
yeah. I mean, I'm more balanced than that now, but I mean, that was kind of the cycle of my life. Like, I'm definitely in a better place now. I do notice that stuff more now, but in a more healthy way. But I think that's so interesting. On top of that, I don't think that as a society, we have encouraged people to be aware of those things and acknowledge that. You've mentioned that in one of your podcast episodes before, especially as a Gen Xer, and as
Mhm.
I'm a millennial, and I still feel that we weren't really allowed to give ourselves space to notice and share our needs in that, right?
Right.
And so when we have that kind of default,
Mhm.
does neurofeedback can that help us to kind of understand that better or to process that better to kind of relieve that trauma? I hate that word, but like I don't like to use it lightly, I should say.
Yes. Yes. So like the reality is our society is set up to be on 24/7. And
Mhm.
there's, I mean, we don't need to get political, but like
Yeah.
there's a benefit to that, right? To be
Right.
on 24/7. It makes a really good worker.
Yes.
And so like if we start plugging in and saying, "Oh, actually I can't do that." Like when someone says to me, "I have a high pain tolerance," I'm like, "Oh no." Like you are so disconnected from your body. You know,
Mhm.
because we shouldn't have a high pain tolerance really. Like we should know when our foot's bleeding.
Yeah,
That
usually.
pain is to indicate, "Hey, you need to pay attention to this." But,
Right.
neurofeedback, one, like you're talking about, is bringing about this awareness, and does it make us less productive? It might,
Mm,
but to me, that's the difference between, like, quality and quantity, right? Like, I mean, you know this, you're a mom, but, like,
yeah.
I was always a better mom when I had, like, an hour to myself.
Yes.
And again, this society may tell me that makes me a terrible mom because I need time away from my kid, but I was so much better for my kid when I had that hour. And
Right.
so it was the quality over the quantity. And so, it does make us question systems, and it does make us, didn't we go into business for ourselves, not to create,
Amen.
right? Like we didn't like corporate America per
Right.
se. Why we went into business for ourselves, and now we're working harder than we did in corporate America? Like,
Yes.
that doesn't really work.
Yes, and that I talk about that sometimes too, where it's like we have this blueprint that's been given to us by corporate America, by society, by be a good worker because that's what gives you value in life, right? And it's not. It's for people who don't like maybe didn't quite catch that.
That is not I'm out. That's all we're saying.
I'm like, you never know. I don't want to leave that to question.
That'll be the one part that they listen to, right?
Like,
Like,
oh yeah, that's the value in your society. No. So yeah, slowing your brain down is and I'll feel that way. Like I said, after a session, I feel there is this almost I can't be tired. I have things to do
mhm.
after a session, but what I need to do is take another 20 minutes after that and let my brain just reset and rest. And I'm better for it when I do.
Yeah,
And
more
it's
efficient.
yes, way more efficient, way more efficient. I love that. Okay, we got completely off of my questioning here, and that's okay because I think we got some really amazing had some really amazing topics. I love when things go off on tangents.
I
So,
hear the editor is really good.
I I have a good yeah, my editor's great. I highly recommend her.
Same.
Also, that's me, just in case you didn't catch that one. I I edit these. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, let's wrap up here just a little bit and let people know if someone's listening today and
Mhm.
they are a founder who is running hard, performing well externally, but feels something underneath is crumbling to some extent, feels off. What's the first thing you would like to tell them?
Like, as when we tune out the bad, we tune out the good too.
Mm,
And so, again, quality of life, I'm a huge quality of life person, and so if someone's having, major issues with burnout or, overwhelm from neurodivergence or anxiety, depression, whatever the thing is, reach out to me. Let's see what's going on, and quite frankly, if we do an assessment and your brain is perfect, spoiler alert, none of them are. But if your brain is perfect or I don't think neurofeedback will help you, I'm gonna tell you that. Like,
mhm.
I'm not interested in trying to help you when you don't need help.
Mhm. Right. Well, and the thing is you have the know-how and the knowledge to know whether or not neurofeedback would be the best step right now too. You can assess somebody and say, "Listen, I really think that you should be seeing, doing this instead," or, "I would like to recommend you to a doctor for something," or maybe therapy would be the better place to start. Neurofeedback would be something to supplement with that. Like that's the benefit of talking to Sandy. You are not just a neurofeedback person. You are someone who has decades of experience that
Yeah.
behind you that can help you recognize where this person's at and how to help them best. And that's valuable, very valuable.
And I personally, like, I get a little squirrely with seizure disorders. I know that was one of the things you wanted to know is like, where is it contraindicated? I get a little squirrely with seizure disorders, and I'm gonna wanna talk to the doctor and get their okay before we do that.
Right.
Also with Mind Lift, there are different levels of neurofeedback, and, you can go into an office where there's 60 different electrodes, and it's giving you a lot more
Mm,
stuff. But, like, training the brain, like, we can train one part of the brain, and it's kinda like a dropping a pebble in the water, like, it's gonna reverberate out, for lack of a better word. But, like, there are times when it is really more appropriate to do a more in-depth
mm,
system
right.
and, case dependent.
Right. But if we're looking for some help with burnout as an entrepreneur, this
This is
neurofeedback can be
yes.
incredibly invaluable. I'm going to put everything in the show notes as far as where they can find you, what the next step is that they could be with you. I know that you have a full information pack about what neurofeedback is and how it can help you. So that's free and that's in the show notes. Also, if you're interested in working with Sandy to do neurofeedback, that will be down there and how to work with her. But if someone wanted to reach out to you and just ask you a couple questions, what would be your favorite way for them to do that?
Probably email or social media, either one. I mean, I hesitate with the social media aspect because of HIPAA and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Probably email would be best. So Sandy@sandyboone.com, and that's
Perfect.
Sandy with a Y.
Perfect. Put that down in the show notes. I want to thank you so much for being here today, Sandy. You are an incredible human being, and I've been so lucky to work with you in this neurofeedback and beyond, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brooke. You are one of my favorite people, and you're a miracle worker.
Thank you. It's so good. So good to have you, Sandy. We'll talk again, I'm sure, very soon. We'll have you back sometime.
All right. Sounds great.
All
Thanks
right.
for having
Yeah. If you want to talk through what's actually happening in your business, that's why I'm here. The link to contact me is in the show notes. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next Tuesday.